Hello and good morning. Welcome to our HALCON 20.11 webinar. It's great that you're all here today. And with me today is my dear colleague, Mario Bohnacker, our Technical Product Manager HALCON. In the next roughly 45 minutes, we will guide you through all what's new and great in our latest release of HALCON. And afterwards, we will have around 50 minutes of time to take care of all the questions that you have posted during the webinar. So regarding questions, please feel free to type them in anytime you want, but please note that we will answer them in bulk at the end of the webinar. Another information for you, if you happen to miss some parts of our presentation because your kid asks for you and you are in the home office, fear not, since we will provide you with the recording as well as with a handout shortly after the webinar. So you will not miss out on anything. I think that's all from my side. And I will gladly hand over to Mario to start with introducing the latest and greatest of HALCON 20.11. Have fun.
Thank you, Tom. Yes, also very welcome from my side. I'm very happy that I'm able to present to you the new features of HALCON 20.11 in this customer webinar. HALCON 20.11 comes in Progress and Steady edition, so a big pack of features. Just here we will have the flyer, the leaflet, which presents all of our features, and it's full of new things. Not only new with the Progress edition, but also a lot of new topics which we will cover today with the Steady edition. So yeah, I would say let's get started. Okay, perfect. So sorry for this technical problems. So let's now dig deeper into this new HALCON release. And before I want to start with the new features, I want to quickly give a short recap on the two available editions of HALCON. So as I mentioned, we have HALCON Progress and HALCON Steady. And with this release, HALCON 20.11, we will have both editions updated. So here, just as a quick reminder for everyone, what is the difference between HALCON Progress and HALCON Steady in terms of release cycle? The HALCON release for Steady is in a release cycle of every 2 years. So the last one was the HALCON 18.11 release, and now we have 20.11. And the Progress is the small steps in these slides. So every half a year we got the Progress edition. So now it's the time with HALCON 20.11 in which this 20.11 Steady sums up all the new features which were released in the Progress editions between the last HALCON 18.11 Steady and today. In just a short summary, Progress, we have the latest features first. Every 6 months, the short release cycles and our subscription-based pricing model. With the Steady edition, we have the very high compatibility as it's a 2-year release cycle. We have long-term support, means for Steady, you will also get these maintenance releases during the year. And of course, the purchase is a standard. So this just to quickly recap, what is the difference between HALCON Progress and HALCON Steady? And now let's go on to concrete HALCON 20.11 topic. And the first one is that we have a campaign. At the moment, it started right with the release up to the 16th of December. We have a sales campaign in which you get 2 months on your first Progress SDK subscription period. Means if you buy HALCON Progress now, you will get 14 months instead of 12 in your first period. And for all the SDK products for Steady, means all the Steady customers, we have also 20% on all of these. Means if you buy a new HALCON Steady SDK or if you buy an upgrade to the new HALCON Steady version 20.11, there's 20% on this in this time frame until December 16. So at first, I want to start with some general information about the HALCON, and it's kind of a discontinuation information. As we already announced in the HALCON release notes of HALCON 18.11, we now with HALCON 20.11 do no longer support Win32 platform. So the installer of HALCON does not have this software package for this platform from anymore. So this just as of information upfront. And yeah, another new thing with HALCON 2011 is the way of the installation of the program. So everyone who already downloaded HALCON might have noticed that besides the free installation packages for HALCON, the core installation, the deep learning data, and the deep learning example installer, we now provide the option to download HALCON via a so-called software manager. This is a first version. We call it a little bit early adopter, in which we want to provide this possibility to download HALCON with this kind of software, and also to get feedback from our customers. What is the feeling about the software manager, and how do you feel about this way of installing HALCON on your systems? What are kind of the features of the software manager? So the software manager at first is an installer which helps you to install all HALCON packages which are needed to run HALCON on your system. But besides that, you also can download, for example, the deep learning tool via this software manager. You can manage your installation, means deinstall or select newer versions. You can, and this is very nice, to launch all MVTec products which are installed on your PC. So as you can see in the screenshot on the lower left, on this PC, for example, there was HALCON 20.05 Progress and Merlic installed for all users, or on top for a specific user, also the deep learning tool. And you can use this to start the applications out of these tools. This is very helpful if you have, for example, several HALCON versions installed. So you have maybe HALCON 18.11 and now you want to install 20.11, or you have the progress versions installed and you want to start a specific one. This launcher can help you to start the MVTec product you desire. Here's a small GIF which is now following, and this GIF quickly shows up how the installation process here is working with the software manager. So you select which kind of package you want to install. In this example, we checked the development version, then automatic all packages are selected which are needed, but you also have the possibility to only select several packages. For example, you might not want to install all deep learning examples because deep learning is not out of your interest, and then you can unselect these installation packages to save memory on your hard disk, for example. How can you reach this software manager? The software manager, as I said, is available in our download area besides the regular installer. So there's two ways at the moment. So you can use the old known way to install HALCON, or you use this new software manager and try out the new features of this small software product from our side. So that's about it for the general information. Let's dig into these new features of HALCON 2011. At the beginning, I want to quickly recap what are the major features of the previous progress versions, which are now available also for our HALCON Steady customers. So I will quickly recap the major features of HALCON 19.05, 19.11, and 20.05, which are now also included into HALCON 2011 for all the Steady customers. And then I will have more detail on all these new features which are now very new, hot, freshly released with HALCON 2011. So if we think back in the year 2019, we released HALCON 19.05, and the big major features of HALCON 19.05 was that we implemented the possibility to run the inference of our deep learning networks on ARM processors to widen up the hardware possibilities of deep learning, to make deep learning also available for kind of embedded devices. Besides that, we improved our object detection, which was released with HALCON 18.11, and now with HALCON 19.05. We improved it in a way that it's not only possible to detect objects with rectangles axis aligned, but also now with oriented rectangles, as you can see in this screenshot on the top. And besides these deep learning features, we improved our shape-based matching, adding possibilities to add clutter information in your application. This means you can add the information about areas inside your image in which you expect not to be any edge information, which helps you, as you can see in the screenshot on the right, to identify specific balls in the selection of these several balls inside the image. So this can help you to select the correct objects based on some surrounding information. And of course, we also improved our 3D surface-based matching. Here we implemented new functionality that the score, which is calculated for the surface-based matching, can now be divided into several scores, which you can also have a look at. So you can see what's the total score and what are my all the score values which take part of this total score, and maybe decide if one of these score values should not be taken into consideration. So this gives you more flexibility to have more reliable score values. Okay, 19.11 was the next step and comes with one major big improvement or new technology for deep learning. This is the anomaly detection, a very nice new deep learning technology which gives you totally new possibilities in terms of deep learning. Why? Because you do not need to have any labeled data anymore. The anomaly detection is a technology which works only with good images, so you have to only collect samples which look the way they should be, and the anomaly detection then, after training of your deep learning model, is able to identify anomalies in terms of regions, or gives you an anomaly score which tells you, okay, there is something new or something different in this images, something which is not expected. The nice thing also is it only needs a few number of images. So depending on the applications, 20 to 100 images is totally enough. And you can solve your applications very quickly, as also the training only takes some minutes. So this gives totally new possibility to quickly try out deep learning on new or even on existing technologies to see if they're on existing applications, to see if there's any new profit using deep learning for these applications. Besides that, we implemented the GradCam heat map, a new kind of heat map. There was already a heat map functionality in HALCON before, but with this GradCam, the time it took to calculate this heat map was drastically decreased, so it can now be performed kind of during your inference without a much lag of time, so adding up maybe 20% of your inference time. If you run it on a GPU, inference time for an image might have been 10 to 15 milliseconds, so now you can generate the heat map in this inference step with using 18 milliseconds, for example, and you then can use this heat map to identify what areas of the images were important for this deep learning classification, to find out, to open up a little bit this black box deep learning to get an idea what was the interesting area for this algorithm. Another feature was the ONNX support. This ONNX support allows you to import deep learning models which you may have trained with other tools or open source tools. This is an standardized format which is used in the deep learning community quite often. So now also with this kind of formats, other networks can be imported into HALCON. Besides deep learning, another big feature is the generic box finder in our 3D technology. So this generic box finder helps you to identify boxes of different sizes. You could have used our surface-based matching for this task already, but you would have need to train some objects and you are not flexible in sizes. Now here, the only thing you need is a 3D data. You need a box size range in height, width, and depth. And this is all you need. And then you have one operator called, and you will get the position and the sizes of the find boxes. So very easy to use and to solve applications where rectangular objects need to be found in 3D data. And last but not least, the ECC 200 code was Speedup parallelized, gives you major speedup, especially for scenarios in which your code was printed not very good. So in all these scenarios where it's difficult to read codes, this parallelization gives you major speedup on multi-platform systems. So the next step was 20.05, and here we can see in the background it's called subpixel barcode reader. One big new feature for the barcode reading, as we improved our existing barcode reading functionality to be able to read barcodes down to a module size. This means one size or width of one bar of the barcode down to 0.7 pixels in our benchmarks. So even lower resoluted barcodes can now be read with HALCON's barcode reading functionality. Besides that, we opened up the hardware capabilities for deep learning, as we are now able to train all deep learning technologies which are available in HALCON on CPU. You might think, okay, the training takes ages, you need a lot of images. Is it even practical? Yeah, yes, it is. Just an example, you might know our default example we deliver with HALCON for the classification. It's about classifying different defects on medicine, on pills. And this is around 150 images per class, 3 classes. And this training on a CPU takes around 25 to 30 minutes. As training is an offline step, I think these times are still capable and still applicable for real-world applications. Besides that, we improved our anomaly detection, so it got a speed up, but as if you use it now the first time, you won't feel this improvement because it will be just quite fast. And our surface-based matching was improved, especially for objects with symmetries. We call it almost symmetrical objects. In this image, you can see that the whole of these symmetrical objects was not correctly found, means it was somehow flipped or rotated. And especially in applications where you need to find this pose very correctly because these holes need to fit to the counterpart, maybe on your conveyor belt. This now gives you more robust results and helps you to solve such kind of applications. Okay, this was now my quick recap on all these major features of HALCON 19.05 until 20.05. And now I think that's the most interesting part. Let's dig deeper into these 2011 new features. So everything which is new, everything which we just implemented and released now. So everything which, let's say is out of the most interest for everyone. And here we want to start with our improved shape-based matching. So the shape-based matching, there are some scenarios for shape-based matching in which the contrast inside the image is very low, or you have very high noise inside the image. As you can see here, this crosses contrast is quite bad. What is a typical application? A typical application for this is the detection of fiducials, for example, on electronic boards, or fiducials on conveyor belts, or something like this. And as these conveyors are handled in your production system 24/7, they get dirty, they get rusty. and this leads to bad contrast inside the image, and you still want to robustly detect your fiducials to be able to align your later on process to this. So here we made an improvement in the shape-based matching that the result of the default parameters of shape-based matching give you more robust and more repeatable result in such case of scenarios. And how is it that it comes, where does this improvement come from? It basically comes from the pyramid levels which are used in HALCON. So in HALCON, we have several pyramid levels for the shape-based matching on which we try to find these objects. And depending on the pyramid level, the object is more able to be more robustly found or not.
Okay, Mario, regarding this, I have an interesting question that you might be able to answer right away, because as many know, the parameter num levels and the possibility to manually adjust it has been around for quite some time in HALCON. So what's the new and great thing about this feature in HALCON 20.11?
Yes, that's true. The possibility to adjust these num levels is actually available in HALCON since I think the beginning of shape-based matching. But you need to have a lot of knowledge about these levels to select the correct pyramid level and to select this parameter correctly, that it gives you robust results on your specific application. And what's actually new is something which I can show you on the next slide, is that we now provide a new operator called adapt shape model high noise, which is automatically selecting the correct parameter set for this num levels parameter in HALCON. So it you input the one sample image of your image scenario, and then this this operator automatically adjusts the parameter inside the shape model that it will be the most reliable results for shape-based matching. And just to give you an impression on how well this works on which kind of scenarios, we just made an internal benchmark on some data where we, on this example, used some manipulation of the images to see different kind of effects, like on the left, some gradient in the image. On the second image, you see some simulated rusting of the image, and so on. And as you can see that especially in all these cases, our new operator helps to find these objects more robust in a higher number, especially as you can see on the right, for white noise, the numbers are greatly improved when you use these parameters before you call your fine shape model. Another feature in terms of our core technology, we see identification as one of our core technologies, is that we now provide the possibility to read DotCode with HALCON. So what is DotCode? DotCode is some kind of code which is used especially in high-speed applications, because it can be printed very fast due to the way or how the points are arranged, or the dots are arranged. That's why it's called DotCode, of course. And now with HALCON 20.11, you are also able to read this with the common data matrix code reading functionality. So you have your find data code operator in which you just add DotCode as a parameter, and you're able to read this with HALCON. We see this kind of code, like I said, especially used in high-speed applications. Here in the image, you can see that this is one example out of the tobacco industry. Another new thing about our DotCode, not DotCode, about our code reading functionality in HALCON is that now we also support the data matrix rectangular extension. So this is an extension of the regular data matrix code. So usually the data matrix code are quadratic forms, but there's this extension that you can also print it in a rectangular way in very wide. You can see this on the example on the lower right, for example, where there is some kind of a medical class where you have this long code printed. And now, yes, also this kind of codes can be read with HALCON. Good. So,
Mario, I have another question for you before you move to the Deep OCR slide. You have been talking about the data matrix rectangular extension, but you haven't told us anything about whether I have to make any adjustments to make use of this new extension. Would you mind spending a minute to answer this right away?
yes, of course. Yes, you're right. I didn't tell anything about how to use it because you do not have to do anything on your side. So basically, if you have an application which already reads data matrix codes and you upgrade it to HALCON 2011, you can directly put a data matrix rectangular extension under the camera and it will be able to read. So there's no need to adjust any parameters on your side to select that you want to read this extension. Basically, this is directly integrated into our data matrix reading functionality. Good. Another topic, identification. From my opinion, a feature I like very much in this release. It's the Deep OCR. It's a very impressive one. And the Deep OCR basically is a new deep learning, completely deep learning based approach to solve OCR reading applications. So everyone who knows HALCON since a few versions might remember that with HALCON 13 we already introduced a deep learning based OCR. So you might wonder now what's the difference because between the deep learning based OCR we released with HALCON 13 and the deep OCR which we now release with HALCON 2011. So I will quickly introduce the difference. As you can see in this slide on the left, there were the HALCON 13 deep learning based OCR was a two-step approach. In the first step, you had to segment the characters. This was usually done with, for example, find text operator to really get all the pixels which belong to the character. And then these characters were introduced into a classifier which was trained on MVTec based on deep learning, which was called a universal font. And this font then classified each of these characters. So this was our deep learning based OCR. So actually only the second step was a deep learning step with HALCON 13. Now the next level, deep OCR, a completely holistic deep learning based approach. Again, it's a two-step approach, but both steps are deep learning. So as you can see in this left example, the first step is to detect the text with deep learning. So basically what we do here is that we have some deep learning algorithm rhythm which gives you also a visualization which you can use to further fine tune. I will go on this detail later in the presentation. And this gives you first a heat map of where in my image are characters located. And then a second score, it's the link score is, okay, which of these characters belong together? So which of these characters are as close as possible to form a word, for example. And this information then goes to a second deep learning model internally, which then uses this information of where is my text located and transforms this, recognizes the text and gives you what is written inside the image based on this, as you can see here, bounding boxes of these words. So what are the major advantages of this new deep OCR functionality? And one thing which I think is very impressive and I think which will save you a lot of time is that you do not need to take care about the orientation of your text anymore. You might remember with HALCON 13 or previous HALCON versions, you always had to align your text horizontally that it's able to read it. Now, as you can see in these examples, Deep OCR works independent of the orientation. And another nice thing which you can also see in these examples is that here you see lasered, imprinted, and embossed characters, which is a very hard task for OCR. And yeah, as you can see in this example, our Deep OCR is able to read this kind of printing style, let's say, without any problem. Another new feature is that, of course, this Deep OCR, as I mentioned, detects if letters are connected to one word. And in this example, you can see that this grouping of the word helps to identify possible misinterpretations. Like you have these zeros, as you can see on the right side, which are identified as zeros because out of the context we see that it is a number and not a word. And maybe on the upper left you can see the word to, where it is identified as an O, so as a letter and not as a number. As you can also see here, the minimum number of characters is 2 to identify that they belong together. Here just an example which shows that this Deep OCR model we provide is independent of the font type. So no matter what kind of font type you have, this Deep OCR is possible to read it. You do not have to set any parameters or to change your code if your font type or your printing style changes. As you can see on the upper left, there's some dots printed. On the lower left, there is some embossed in metal. So it's totally different font styles, printing styles, and our model, which is only one, there's only one model, can read all of these. So as I mentioned, it's a deep learning approach, both steps. So you might say, okay, what is the time it takes, or what kind of hardware do I need? So for this, of course, it's deep learning, and you know deep learning always needs a powerful hardware. So here you can see some benchmarks on the performance of the OCR. And as you can see on graphic cards, it works depending on the image sizes in quite applicable times. But as you can see in the lower two lines, for example, on the CPU or on the NVIDIA Jetson, which gives a representation for an embedded device, it can take quite long time. So the question, of course, arises now, okay, I need it faster on such kind of hardware. Is there some way to speed up this whole Deep OCR? Or do I have to wait for some further releases or better hardware that I'm able to use this feature? So there's an answer I can give you on this. You can speed up our Deep OCR functionality in case you have prior knowledge on where your text is located. Given this example here, we have some cans. There are DotCode barcodes printed on, and the text we want to read is always in a relative position to this barcode. So in such kind of application, you can use this prior knowledge you have about the text position to speed up Deep OCR. So in this example, we find the barcode first with HALCON's barcode reading functionality. And based on this, we can define the surrounding rectangle where our text must be located. And then we can crop out this information out of the image and then only use this cropped image part, as you can see here now in the real world example, and perform the Deep OCR in the recognition only mode. So this helps you to speed up your application. And how much can you speed up this application with this? This is quite significant, as you can see on the next slide, where we added a column to the benchmark from before, is that here in this example we had, as you can see for the CPU, for example, we could reduce our time from 102.8 milliseconds to 10.4 milliseconds. So it's only 10% of the speed anymore because the detection of where the text is located takes the most of the time. So just use this hint if you want to use Deep OCR to speed up your application if you are not having or the possibility to use powerful GPU hardware. Okay, as I mentioned, the Deep OCR is dedicated, is one dedicated pre-trained deep learning model. So there's no several models. It's only one model which we deliver with HALCON, which can read all. It's based on hundreds of thousands of images. It's trained in-house with our knowledge, and of course you can use this without any concerns about third-party rights or copyrights. This is free of copyrights of others. Okay.
Let me quickly interrupt with another question because quite a few listeners have posted this, and it might be good to answer it right away. You just talked about that Deep OCR is a dedicated pre-trained deep learning model, but does that mean that I can also retrain the model with my own data?
That's a good question. At this point, no, it's not possible to retrain your this deep learning model with your own data. This is something we are working on at the moment. Our goal was to create one generic model which is possible to solve all possible applications, so that there's no retraining needed. And actually, we see a lot of applications in which previous OCR techniques needed some specific retraining, but with this model, we do not need it anymore. And the second thing is that we are investigating in how much better this specific retraining would make your application, or if there are even cases in which a specific retraining would make the generalization of this deep learning network even worse. So this is something we are thinking about. We are working on these training possibilities, more to come in the next releases. Good. I need to speed up a little bit. That's why I may be skipping some of the slides. Don't worry, you will get the complete slide set at the end, even with more information. So if I'm now skipping some slides, don't worry that you're missing some information. It's just because of the time. Of course, we made some benchmark also on how well performs this deep OCR. And here we have internally a data set of around 50,000 different specific, highly challenging images with different kind of text on it. And we benchmark this against our fine text functionality. And here we see that our deep OCR works, say, 124% better than our fine text. So there's a big improvement here compared to the existing technology for OCR, which will still be available in HALCON. And another nice information, new information for you, maybe you might wonder, you say it's deep learning, so do I need to pay the deep learning price tag? No, you don't. The OCR functionality, the deep OCR, will be provided in our OCR OCV module, so there's no need to purchase the deep learning module for these OCR, deep OCR functionality. Good. As I mentioned, as in the deep OCR, you get the possibility to have the score, character score map and the link score map. So this is two score values which you can use to adjust your deep learning application. So here is just one example which shows you how you can use it. In this example, we want to read this big printed serial number on top, but at first we find different text because there is different characters available in the image, and by reducing your link score or increasing your character score, you are able to set up this deep OCR for your specific application. So this is one way you have to adjust your deep OCR application. Good. Enough about deep OCR. Let's move on to another feature. This one is a real deep learning feature. It's called deep learning edge extraction. And this deep learning edge extraction sums up the functionality we have with deep learning. So besides anomaly detection, semantic segmentation, object detection, and classification, this is a new functionality which is available in the deep learning module. So what are use cases? Here, it's again a pre-trained model which we deliver, and this can be used or comes with two major advantages. The first is that you can directly apply it on images, and it's especially tuned for low contrast, high noise images, as you can see in the image where you have blurred edges, strong texture, and something like this, and you want to robustly detect where are my edges in the image. The second approach is you are able to retrain this application. So if you are having edge detection application, you might always find the difficulty that if you use common edge detection filters, you get a lot of edges returned, and it's very hard. You need a lot of manual post-processing to extract the correct edges or the desired edges. With this new functionality, you are able to achieve this result without these post-processing, as you are able to retrain this deep learning edge extraction with your application images. And the other nice thing here is you do not need a lot of images. You only need around 10 to 20 images, which you need to label the edge. And then the deep learning edge extraction will directly give you only the edges that you really want and not all the other edges which are also available in the image. As we said, it's a pre-trained model. It's based on a segmentation model, but this one is a model which you can find with the name edge extractor as pre-trained model in HALCON. And how do you need to label it? Basically, as it is a segmentation method, you need to label it like semantic segmentation. So there might be a question, okay, can I label it in the deep learning tool? Not yet. This is something we are working on for the deep learning tool, but there is some helper functionality on our website available that you are able to label this data inside HDevelop with a small, quick tool. Another thing I wanted to mention, as I said, it's based on segmentation, is the result which you will get is something which looks like on the left side. It's kind of an region in which the edge is located. And if you're using typical HALCON operators like threshold, skeleton, pruning, you are able to get this region down to the edge which you want to detect and get out of the image.
Okay, Mario, regarding this, another question popped up by various users. How about the accuracy here? Does this extraction approach return subpixel accurate results?
Good question. No, it doesn't. It's based on regions so far. So you have a region, and what you will get here on the right is also a region of where is this edge located. So it helps you to detect where are my edges. If you want to have a real subpixel precise measurement of these edges, you can use this as a pre-processing step and then use, for example, measure pos or some algorithms like this to identify the subpixel accurate position of this edge. Of course, we are working on getting this feature in kind of a subpixel accuracy. This is one of our development topics on our roadmap. Okay, another feature in terms of deep learning is pruning. Pruning helps you to bring deep learning to some, let's say, for example, embedded device, as it's a possibility to have kind of a switch between accuracy of your deep learning model and memory consumption or inference time. So this gives you the possibility to tune a trained deep learning model to maybe, yeah, you can have a trade-off between, okay, I do not need this high classification accuracy. You can prune your network, and then you will have a network with a little bit less accuracy, but way less memory usage or way lower inference times. So there's one example that we can show you is that in this example, the trained model had an error of 1.2%, but for this application, up to 3% was still sufficient. So we were able to prune this deep learning network around 40%. We achieved then a 2.8% error rate, which was still acceptable. But as you can see on the right, especially on this embedded hardware, you can see that the inference time we could decrease from 288 milliseconds to 207 milliseconds, or on this ARC64 from 122 milliseconds to 79 milliseconds. And also on the right, we could reduce the file size from 2.9 to 1.4. So pruning, possibility to prune, so cut out parts of your deep learning network which are not out of interest for the classification, gives you some kind of slider to adjust between accuracy and inference time. So there are still 3 topics to go. That's why I'm a little bit speeding up. Improved shape-based matching, especially the edge-supported surface-based matching. Sorry, not shape, surface-based matching was improved in 2 points. The first one is that we made it significantly faster for complex 3D scenes. As we know, speed is always very relevant for all of our customers because applications need to be as fast as possible. Time is money, we know. And of course, we tried to improve the usability. So there was some steps we did. The major step was to remove the viewpoint. So this was a little bit of pain point in developing these applications to make sure that viewpoints are set correctly. And this is now also estimated automatically, so no need to set this parameter anymore. This helps you also in getting this application developed faster. Just to give you an expression about the number of the speedups, if you have less complex scenes, like on the left, there's not much edge information available, the speedup will not be significant. If you have a very complex scene, like you see on the right, with a lot of different edges inside the images, then the speedups is up to nearly 200%. So the next thing we have is for all the developers, it's a new language interface. So now we provide a language interface for Python. So as the deep learning community and also uses Python, Python is growing more and more. And yeah, this is our way to now be also able to use HALCON when you're using Python. So we added up Python in the list of our available language interfaces besides the common used C, C++, and .NET interfaces. As for all other language interfaces, of course, there's some documentation available. There are examples available, and yeah, feel free to try out using HALCON with Python if you're a Python programmer. So last but not least, HDevelop. We facelifted HDevelop. Everyone who was using HDevelop knew it. The look and feel kind of got a little bit, let's say, rusty. Now we gave it kind of a plastic surgery, a small one, put in some Botox. No, just kidding. So actually we removed, it looks a little bit more neat. We removed a little bit of the colors of the icons. And I think the feature most of you waited for, actually, all of your developers waited for, is that we now finally provide a dark mode. So this is actually the first reply about the release I got on Friday last week. Yeah, finally, you got a dark mode. So I know everyone is happy about it. We have the dark mode. And besides that, we have now also some kind of window docking concept. As you are used to it from, for example, other development environments like Visual Studio. So you can use drag and drop to organize your windows. So there's no need to have this organize window button anymore, which puts your windows up to the correct positions if you use another screen, if you widen up HDevelop. So yeah, this gives you a little bit more flexibility on how to arrange your windows and how to arrange or set up HDevelop for your specific needs. Yeah, so these were all the features I wanted to present to you today. My colleague will now send a link for a survey inside the chat window. We would like to ask you to fill out this survey. It's basically asking on the added value you think these new features will provide for you and your existing applications. Let us know what you think about this HALCON 2011 release. And we are happy to get this kind of feedback from you on these new features. As I said, there are a lot of more smaller features in HALCON, which we now not covered here, but you will not miss any of them, and you do not need to read all of the release notes because you will get a handout PDF in which these slides are also added up. I can tell you the feature slides that for all the features from HALCON 19.05 until today is around 380 slides. So a lot of information for you. If you can look at this, you will get the information of everything which is new up to the smallest thing.